Hello, hello. This is Gary Delabate. We're here still at the honey hole, and I think this is number 6. The last couple ones was the music episode, and then the possible honey hole mixture. And this one I hadn't seen in a while, but it's one of my favorite sort of funny movies that you can have on in the background. You don't need to sit there and study it like the Cheever letters or anything, but it is funny every time you look up and see something fun. Easy Money, one of the oldest tropes. Do something, change your behavior for a wad of money. See if you can make it to the end for an even bigger pile of money. But it's got Rodney and it's fun. It's got Jennifer Jason Leigh. She's good in this one. And Taylor Negron, I think is how you say his name. He's a character actor. And every time he's in something, I'm glad to see him. He's good. But basically, this guy is he's a real, like, boomer? Are they boomers? Anyway, they're smoking, drinking, he does drugs. He's not a very good father, etc. So the mother-in-law gets a hold of him and says, here's a big pile of money if you behave. She actually fakes her death and says he can have all the money if he is clean and sober and respectable for a year. And it's got Joe Pesci in there. You call him Joe Pesci. I've heard somebody say Joe Pesci. Probably because of that Lethal Weapon thing he did. There it is. What a great shot of Rodney there with the auteur hands. Love it. Good stuff. I actually, when I was checking this tape to make sure it works, so I do check these all, like spot check them. I actually sat here and watched the movie as I carried on cleaning and stuff. Sure sign that was a rental. But the tape is in flawless condition. I had a great time with it. Thanks, Rodney. 1941. One of Spielberg's first big missteps, if my recollection is correct. Movie Mogul, $24.95. Belushi. I don't even know what that movie's about. I think it's a plane crashes or something. I've never seen this. I wasn't the big. I'm sorry for anybody out there. I wasn't the biggest Belushi fan. I was in the Chevy Chase camp. I thought he was funny. But I mean, what do I know, right? Comedy is personal choice, I guess. Nice looking box, though. I like the coloring. And look at here. I don't see any signs that this was a rental, but then this little sticker here, Movie Mogul. I don't know if the movie studio put that on. The movie studio put that on there. I can't be sure. I don't think it was a rental. This is good shape, so maybe nobody rented it or what. I don't know. What was it like back in those days? Because I know you go to the theater, and then if you were lucky, once it was done with its run, it would go to like a 50-cent theater or something like that. I think something tells me I remember paying 50 cents. I was in Norwalk, California. Shit, I must have been 7 or 8 years old. And this is a typical Gen X story. You would just get dumped off at the movie theater at night with your 50 cents or your 75 cents, and you sit there and go watch movies that are way inappropriate. I watched Saturday Night Fever, Jaws, Moonraker. Boy, do I hate that Sheen notification on my wife's phone. I guess my point was, after it had its run at the 50-cent theater, you didn't see the movie again until these videotapes started coming out where you could rent them and then see them again. It really kind of shifted when you could watch this stuff. And of course, some people had 2 VCRs and they could dupe the tapes until they figured out a way to mess that up. Record off cable if you had it. I didn't. Here's a real beauty. I don't know what's going on here. The Mouse That Roared. I don't recognize one. Oh, Peter Sellers, I guess I recognize. I mean, is that colorized? Or is it just the worst ever promo picture for a movie? Yeah, I don't think it's colorized. Look at that. That looks normal there. Not the biggest Peter Sellers fan, but I would give this a try. Oh, look at that. What does that say? Oh, it's upside down. It's one of the problems. That says, the angle, I can't read it, and it's shiny. Will result in payment in full for purchase price. So that, I mean, if that ain't a rental, there's the number there. That's the real tell. This was a rental. We'll see if it survived. Something tells me this thing wasn't rented very much, but I haven't seen it. Maybe it's the funniest movie and I'll shit my pants. Who knows? They shoot horses, don't they? Always heard of this title. Never knew it was about running or everything else. That looks to me like it was a rental, but this thing is sealed. So this, they obviously like rented this, and then when it fizzled out, they put it up for sale. Then you could like get it for an almost normal price. You know, back then. Which this shit costs real money, by the way. There you go. Can't show you the tape because this thing is still sealed. Until I'm ready to watch it, or I break it open. Probably doesn't make a difference. Probably was a rental, but whatever. Here we go. Zoetrope Studios. You know, that's so funny. Zoetrope. I just picked up a vinyl record for Record Store Day that was a Zoetrope vinyl record. It almost looks like a kaleidoscope. So Zoetrope must be the brother to that. One from the Heart. That looks like a skating movie. That is so not in my wheelhouse. Not my thing. Let's see, is it Francis Ford Coppola has long been known as I think that says innovative filmmaker for One from the Heart. Whatever. I don't know. Anybody see Megapolis? I still haven't seen that. How many duds can Adam Driver be in and then they kick him out of show business? And don't get me wrong, he elevates anything he's in. But boy, don't you have to make money at some point? He's going to be able to sit on Star Wars? Somebody needs to help him pick out. I know he does interesting stuff. He did a movie called Patterson that is so bizarre as its normalcy and mundane. And yet somehow that's one of his best movies. He does a really good job on that. You can check that out. No, that just slipped out of my name. What did Patterson, that's the name of it. Patterson, I think it's Patterson, New Jersey. But One from the Heart looks like a skating movie. Sorry, I zipped through that because it's so uninteresting. Here's the film they will tell you is the best film ever made. I've tried to watch this 3 times, and 3 times I have fallen asleep during it. This absolutely was a rental because sometimes I get these and this outer sleeve has been all cut up like this. So I take a blank case, I take what's left of the original artwork and tape it down. That thing's going bonkers. Ruining my videos. I guess this is going to be it for the day because I'm not going to listen to that over and over. And we got a few more and then we're done. Instead of this being the Honey Pot 5th or 6th episode, this will be the Busy Wife Phone episode. There you go. Can you read that at that angle? Video Corporation of America presents Classic Film Library, Citizen Kane. What if that meant you've got it at the library. You could rent it there. Could be. Oh. You know, I've never seen this film. I've heard about it. I think this is the one where it's the most 80s film ever because somebody's in an ambulance and Rob Lowe is sitting at the end of the ambulance playing the saxophone. I think this is that movie. You can let me know if I'm wrong or what movie that was. Absolutely ridiculous, but okay. Some more of the sort of Brat Pack adjacent situation there. What does that say that's about? Doesn't want to get serious. Demi Moore doesn't want to get used. Oh, God. Since when? Elizabeth Perkins, she's good. James Belushi, I like him better than John Belushi. And Debbie Sullivan, that's a new one for me, but all right. This one's in pretty good shape. I'm not seeing any signs of rental. Oh boy. Some bad sticker glue situation here, huh? I don't see any numbers. I don't see any video den. These are 2 factory stickers, I think. The glue's coming through there. About last night. This one's got one of those elongated butt flaps. And look at that. One of the factory stickers just popped off. That is a shame. I like to keep all that the way it was. And that's the problem. You open these back up after 100 years and there's some abuse. Sorry. I will glue you back on. I don't. If I ever showed you guys how I fix these tapes sometimes, got this little glue stick at the dollar or whatever, and when those things fall off, and I'm not nervous. Don't worry about my hands; they shake. It runs in the family. It's like it's not Parkinson, but it's annoying anyway. It's a little Elmer's glue stick, and when those labels fall off, I just roll this over those and then put them back on. It seems to work very well and doesn't seem to do any damage. So that's what I use. Foghorn Leghorns. Why in the world would my brain say Foreign Legion? Foghorn Leghorn. I think that says Fractured Funnies. I don't know what that means. I know these are politically incorrect, and I know cartoons are a little childish, but some of the stuff on there does make me laugh. Sorry. Not sorry. And these are old enough to where you don't get a trigger warning at the beginning. With Whoopi Goldberg. We're down to the last 2. MASH. You know, I've never seen this version. I've seen the TV show. I don't know why this just didn't grab me, this kind of stuff. Maybe it's that type of comedy or whatever. I don't know. And look at that. We're back to that. Oh, and listen, they're listed different movies on this one here. The Diary of Anne Frank. Adventures of Sherlock Holmes' Smarter Brother. That sounds good. The Seduction of Mimi. Oh, should I be reading this? Am I old enough? This one is sealed, so I can't show you the tape, but this looks like it was a rental, and then it was resold. I don't see a price tag on it, though. And last but not least, there he is, the true auteur. Now that I say that, what the hell is his name? Alfred Hitchcock. Jeez. This is what happens when you don't eat. 12:30, I haven't eaten yet today. The calories, I guess, fuel your brain. The Trouble with Harry. That to me looks like a rental warning, so this must have been a rental. There you go, Harry. Never seen this one. Who's in this? Edmund Gwenn, John Forsythe, I've heard of. Shirley MacLaine, certainly. I have to check that out. This is the other thing about, people are like, what are you worrying about that old shit for? Who cares? I'm streaming on Netflix. You find a lot of classics like this way. And the other thing I like about this stuff is this probably has a couple, 2, 3 trailers on it that will also say, hey, suggest you a movie. You go, I never heard of that either. I want to check that out. So there is great value in that. Besides being fun, you don't have to watch, The Lady in the Yard or something like that. Ugh, I don't know. By the way, I haven't seen that. It could be great. I think, boy, did they really run out of names? The Lady in the Yard. Could be at the yard anytime. All right, that's it for this one. A lot more rambling on this one, so we're going to call it. I want to say thank you for watching this. I like doing this and putting it on film, and hopefully you're enjoying it. And I like the fact that this is probably sitting on the internet for years to come, unless it's all over and dead internet theory is correct. And people would be able to rediscover this stuff. I probably should show a couple of Betamax players too. I did on the first one, and you can just kind of barely see it. But again, if I could just get one that showed up that actually fully worked. It's like a unicorn. I don't know. Enough ranting. See you later. Bye-bye.